best budget phone out this year.
CMF Phone 2 Pro. Search now on Flipkart.
हीरो एक्सट्रीम 250 यार चलानी है तो थम्स अप स्कैन करो। जो भी थंडर व्हील्स चलाएगा सुपर तूफानी बन जाएगा।
राउफ तेरी वजह से पूरा प्लान कैंसिल हो गया। रहने दे।
सुन, बडीज के साथ क्रिकेट स्क्रीनिंग का प्लान बनना फास्ट, सेम प्लान कैंसिल होना उससे भी फास्ट। उसी क्रिकेट मैच के स्कोर अपडेट्स ESPN क्रिक इन्फो पे मिलना सुपर फास्ट। सुपर फास्ट स्कोर अपडेट्स के साथ और भी बहुत कुछ मिलेगा।
For fast scores and a lot more, download the ESPN Crick Info app now.
What a final we have just witnessed. Arguably the best Asia Cup final of all time. It lived up to its bidding. After 41 years, the world got an India-Pakistan final and the world got to watch a heck of a T20 game. India put under pressure and put into situations that were alien and previously in the tournament, which was too easy for Suryakumar Yadav's side. 20 for 3 at one stage, 77 for 4 at the other, needing 10s under pressure. Well done, Tilak Varma, on perhaps his finest day as an international cricketer. Shivam Dube has played his part, and in spite of Fahim Ashraf and Shaheen Shafri, the Pakistan played their part too in a game that we will love to unpack. Here on CMF by Nothing presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout, powered by Thumbs Up. We'll hear from Urooj, Mumtaz shortly. First up, Varun and Aakash Chopra in studio with me. Incredible. What a final. First thoughts on just the game we witnessed.
Worthy of a final. Of course, absolutely outstanding cricket played in the end. We thought the runs weren't enough, but then Pakistan started wonderfully. Won the power play, something that Urooj had also mentioned earlier. So they came up with a plan. And they were very good at it, taking the pace off with Fahim. And we realized that if Abhishek gets out, Shubman gets out, Surya's form was a little iffy. A lot of work needed to be done. And yes, you were right. Tilak Varma, who's already scored 2 T20I hundreds, has actually played the best T20I knock of his career on this night.
Varun.
So, I mean, Tilak has just provided us with a chasing masterclass. That's all I can say. Just this great tempo of the innings, build it up perfectly, understood conditions, understood what the Pakistani bowlers are doing, and I think the Pakistani bowlers at the end of the innings started to telegraph their plans. That made it easier for him and Dube, but a brilliant partnership by him and Dube. 60 of just 40 balls on that wicket is unbelievable.
I mean, match changing, that partnership. But India also had to build from 20 for 3. So Pakistan had their moments and they were up for this, Urooj. We know what Pakistan are capable of when they're up for it. In the end, they fall short. What was the difference?
Yeah, I think after the power play, I mean, we spoke about this. They were phenomenal. Shaheen got his lengths very well. Fahim was to start up with his slow ones into the surface, just staying out of the batter's arc. But very good, 20 for 3, power play 1. Just felt that understanding how to close overs out. India, I mean, 57 partnership between Tilak and Sanju to set the game up, the rebuilding phase, and not allowing the run rate to fall too far back. And then the match-winning partnership with Shivam Dube at the end. I think just closing the over out. A lot of times we saw these overs start and end with boundaries. Whether we didn't finish the last ball well, or we started with a boundary. Yes, there was obviously plenty of debate around whether Haris should have come back to bowl at 15th over, which basically set the momentum in India's favour. Went for 17 odd. Abrar came on from the other end, got his first ball hit for 6. Over went for 11. So those 2 overs yielded about 27, 28 runs, which changed it in India's favour massively. And I think we heard it on commentary as well. When the spinners were going really well, maybe should have bowled Syme one more. Could have been different, but in the end, I think completely agree with what Varun said. Tilak Varma, what a find and what a innings that he will remember for a very long time.
Excellent. We are going to go into those overs that Urooj mentions, 15th and 16th. 28 runs came, Haris Rauf's over. But I'd like to start with Tilak and then Shivam Dube. What was impressive about Tilak Varma today? What was sort of most defining in how he batted? We've seen him get hundreds. We've seen him play very well in the IPL as well. What was special today?
Lots of things actually. Understanding the need of the hour because, see, 20 for 3, there was a real threat of things going pear-shaped. So to maintain that tempo, knowing where to go, who to go against, because it wasn't your typical T20 surface where the ball was coming onto the bat nicely. You could easily score runs. The need to build a partnership, he was there. And then whenever he actually decided to go hard, just connected it beautifully, picked the right balls, didn't really manufacture a lot of shots, and just a sheer like display of skill. I think that was a notch above the rest. This was absolutely outstanding.
This was not an easy day to bat necessarily.
No.
The ball was not coming onto the bat. Tilak's so good to watch when he's got pace on the ball and all that. How come he still managed away? Or what are you most impressed about from him?
And coming back to the same thoughts we were touching upon in the mid-show, on such wickets you have to hold your shape. You can't try to hit the ball too hard, and Tilak did exactly that. He played a lot of percentage cricket at the start, understood the wicket, and more often than not, when a quality batsman is set in these conditions, then he can dictate. But he allowed himself to get set. He didn't play crazy shots at the start of the innings. Obviously got lucky with that missed run-out chance, which Pakistan are going to rue. I don't know for how long, because they almost had India's number. If they had gotten him run out, this would have been a different story according to me. But that was really bad keeping.
Yeah, Urooj, extend on Varun's point. There was an opportunity to get him, and I think Simon Dool was very critical of Mohammad Haris in not being able to effect that run out. You can of course appreciate what you liked about Tilak's innings, but Pakistan had a chance to get him.
Yeah, and Dooley doesn't mince his word, does he? I mean, yes, Haris Rauf, again, he should have literally taken the stumps out. You don't go for that cheeky, just flick the bails off. And we missed a massive opportunity. Tilak was 37 of 36, had a runner ball, just understanding the tempo of his game, got the measure of the surface, and it was just before he led that platform. So had Pakistan picked up that wicket, I agree. I think this would have been different because the runs were mounting up. The middle order of India, which had played the fewest deliveries and had the lowest strike rate from 6 onwards, 6, 7, 8, 9, and Rinkward obviously just coming to play his first game, could have been a very different story. But I think one thing on Tilak again, where yes, his shot selection was very assured, picked the right balls, held shape, but rotation of strike was phenomenal. Every time they hit the boundary, they knocked it around for ones and twos, didn't chew up too many dot deliveries, and that was important in the big hitting in his knock and the two partnerships also.
Dube,
those long levers, they always come handy because Pakistan were almost nailing their plans, but that 1-6 he hit off Haris Rauf was a brilliant shot. That wasn't just for the viewer. That's not an easy shot to hit because when you generally set up to hit on the onside and somebody's bowling that far wide, to take a full toss and hit it for 6 between those two fielders, not an easy shot at all. And Dube is just one of those priceless players we are finding who really. Obviously, he did really well with the bat today, but his role with the ball was priceless as well.
Yeah, and with the bat as well. If you were to see, never underestimate the importance of power. Especially when the ball gets old, the pitch is a little dusty. You need power to actually clear the fence, and when you have that kind of power and you can display it, and it's been a very quiet last 10 months for actually Shivam Dube. That England series was good. After that, the IPL was quite middling. Even this series was okay. Didn't play the previous game. Didn't get too many opportunities. But again, he was there. One shot that he played through the covers region, I thought that was
set it up from
that was outstanding, because if he can do that, I mean, he can do what he did towards the onside any which way. Yeah. So where would you go as a bowler? And against spinners also, see, if you don't have to step out and you can still hit sixes. That puts every spinner off their plan, because where do you go if he stands and he just smashes a good ball for a 6? Where do you go and what do you do? Not many things that you can.
There's a marked improvement in his hitting against pace. The one thing in the IPL was, Dube is a specialist spin hitter, so we'll bring our pacers on and our pacers will either bounce him or find ways to keep him quiet. Today we saw fairly confident takedown of Haris Rauf.
And that is why I think he didn't go too early. I mean, see, that's the thing with confidence, that you can actually time it really well. You can take your time. You know that I'm taking the game deep, but I'm not going to be jittery about it because I'm comfortable. I know I can hit pace. You may be bowling wide Yorkers, but then I can actually wait for a ball that is in my arc and I'll smash it. And to be fair, only he could smash it. Tilak Varma was batting alongside, but some of those shots only Shivam Dube could, because there was no pace. When Fahim bowled that ball, I mean, there's no pace in it, but he still managed to drag it from outside of the long levers that Varun talked about. It just allows that kind of range that is not available to most batters.
Yeah, he's nearly cleared the ball. He's got out to as well, but for Shaheen Afridi, and that was again Ashraf of no pace. Urooj, those 2 overs we talk about, I'll come to the Haris Rauf and the decision there, but Abrar has been almost impossible to take down. That first ball that he's hit for 6, now Dube's built a reputation of hitting spin for 6, but nobody was able to hit spin for 6 today.
Yeah, he's been really good. Abrar, I think, has improved in leaps and bounds in understanding what pace to bowl at primarily. Earlier on, he would try too many variations, try to give the ball a big rip, and he's not a big turner of the ball. Something that he's worked on is obviously bowling slightly quicker and keeping stumps in play. And he's slightly deceptive when he's quicker as well, slightly skilly. And he had a phenomenal tournament, in fact. I think barring the Super 4 game against India, even today, 29 runs in his 4 wickets, and he was going to be, he mentioned this at the top of the show as well. But I think Pakistan just didn't have enough runs to play with. I mean, in hindsight, everything looks pretty. Yes, when the spinners were going well, especially Abrar and Simon tandem were doing a phenomenal job. And the 6 that you talk about, I mean, Shivam Dube, again, is a run-off play from the subcontinent, vertical height in his advantage, and that's how he got that 6 away. But Abrar, I think, has evolved a lot. Yes, red ball, that's where he broke on, but as a white ball cricketer, remember there was a year where he sat on the benches for Pakistan, just collecting air miles, and you and I were speaking about this at the last T20 World Cup. But when he's gotten his chance in an important tournament, and there's a few, he hasn't won player of the match, but he's had very important key match-winning performances for Pakistan throughout this tournament.
Let's get into the tactical misses, if we can call them that, Urooj. Pakistan's choice to bowl Haris Rauf at a time where they could have continued with spin or bowled out spin to still make this game harder for India.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I said, hindsight is a brilliant viewing point, but Haris Rauf has been guilty party of, yes, he's Pakistan's highest T20 wicket taker, but he's been at the sort of sword of getting hit for runs, 10s plus and over towards the back end. And in a surface that was drier, Pakistan had a first look at it when they were batting. They saw the Indian spinners. It was difficult to get them away. And your spinners were bowling well. So when the stranglehold was on, that ruthless approach where you just keep squeezing, because the spinners, like I said, they were difficult to get away. Pakistan missed a massive trick. Yes, we wouldn't know the result of the game, but Haris Rauf dished up a full one with pace on, pace off to Shivam Dube, which he got away. Then Tilak Varma again with pace on, 145, 146 clicks. But when you've got sort of that margin, whether it's full or short, both batters set, I just felt that was a massive, massive turning moment for India.
Y'all can weigh in on the importance of that. Was that the most pivotal sort of turning point in the game? The 17th run over, which was the 15th over by Haris Rauf, and then he goes to Abrar and concedes 11?
For me, it's basically the ghosts of Melbourne returning to haunt him, because Haris Rauf has this tendency of telegraphing plans. If we go back to Melbourne, when Virat Kohli hit him for those few sixes, it was very sure from the outside that he's only going to bowl back of length. Today, the moment Hesson made those signs of bowling wide, he went over the wicket to the lefties and just kept bowling wide. You can mix it up. You can, even if you're bowling wide, especially to Shivam Dube, you can mix it up with a wide slow bouncer. You can mix up your lengths, but it was just one tracked.
Aakash, just hold your thought. I just want to bring Haris Rauf in as a bigger picture. He was a player who's under the spotlight in the last few weeks for everything that this contest or this India-Pakistan rivalry off the field has spread onto as far as personal emotions go. We saw how Bumrah sort of reacted on getting his wicket, and Haris Rauf going at 13.5 today, Urooj, well over any other bowler. It looked like India also really wanted to take down Haris Rauf. Do you sense that perhaps somewhere there was more to Haris Rauf's off day than just what we saw on the field?
Yeah, I feel, especially in this tournament, the chirping has got to him far more than any other Pakistani player. and in which that he's completely become predictable, and he just ends up bowling either very, very straight and full, where it's easier to hit him away. I don't know if that Bumrah's reaction got under his skin or not, but Haris Rauf, yes, he picks up wickets, but he goes for far too many. And if you're going at 13 and 14 runs and over 17, massive, massive moment in that game. Even when you speak to him, he's emotional. He wears his heart on his sleeve, which is fine, but there needs to be a balance where you should be able to cut out that emotion. I mean, we're playing the game for the third time. Yes, there was going to be lots of things said. Yes, there was going to be a high pressure and tension game. But I just feel he sometimes gets, when those cards are dealt, he falls under that emotional challenge in keeping his emotions in check. And then obviously, like Varun is saying, it became far too predictable. Mike Hesson with his gestures, and Haris Rauf just said, right, this is what I've been told. I'm just going to keep bowling this. And it just got far too predictable. And Shivam Dube took him down.
Aakash.
No, I mean, see, Haris conceded 3.4 overs, 50 runs.
Yes.
The remaining 16 overs, India got only 100. So that is like, difference is stark. It's like chalk and cheese, where everybody else has been economical, and the pitch, everybody felt that it is a difficult pitch to bat on, especially if you take the pace off. And that might actually lead us to a slightly deeper question with regards to Haris Rauf and his is his ability to change pace as often as some others could. And I was I'm slightly surprised, maybe a little perplexed as well, that for somebody who's that experienced, who's got so many wickets, the leading T20I wicket taker for Pakistan, doesn't really have a slower one which is exceptional. It's not a very middling kind of slower one, just halfway down the pitch. It doesn't really stop. It's not like well disguised as, say, a Bumrah. So for somebody to be as successful as he is, you expect and assume that he will have this one thing up his sleeve, which could have been very, very handy, because on this surface, Fahim Ashraf with half his pace, not exactly half, but you get my point, was far more effective than Haris Rauf, when you're constantly, speed is your friend 9 out of 10 times, but today it was your enemy. You need to change your pace and find a way. That wasn't happening.
Yes, Urooj.
Yeah, just on Haris Rauf, I completely agree with what Aakash is saying. Off late, his variation seems to have completely gone. And if it's a variation, it's a...
I think we'll just come back to Urooj in a second. Yeah, okay, we've got you back. Sorry, Urooj, if you can start your point again. We just lost you for a minute there.
Yeah, I'm just saying off late, Haris Rauf seems to go back to a one-dimensional change of pace. A couple of years ago, there was a lot more to his variation, where he bowled a very good, slow, deceptive bouncer, a slow, wide Yorker, and those were part of his artillery, where he picked up bulk of the wickets, not going for far too many towards the back end. But just feel off late again, he goes one track, almost feels like sort of the thinking channel stops, and the variations are far too predictable. So pace, like Aakash is saying, is not your friend. We've got bowlers around the park who are bowling 145 clicks in all top 10 nations now. So the pace has to be used effectively if it is. And the change of paces that he used, I haven't seen him bowl those slow wide Yorkers or the slow bouncers into the surface, for which he's picked up quite a few wickets in the last few back-end overs, which I haven't seen one in over about 6-8 months now.
Okay, let's take some questions from you guys now. I'm just going to fire up my CMF Phone 2 Pro and just get your questions. Keep them clean, please, and send them to us, and I'll put them to the entire panel on our YouTube Live. I'll cover as many as I can, right? It is the final, and it was a great final, so it is worth checking out your thoughts and comments. Lots of love for Tilak Varma, for Shivam Dube, which is very nice to see in a tournament where Abhishek Sharma has taken the headlines, and it's been a great tournament for him, even though he missed out today. Gill is the man touted for greatness and the all-format player. Didn't fire. Sky has had a forgettable tournament as a batter. Tilak and Shivam Dube are the story for this evening through the comments. Let's see what we like, what we've got over here. Tilak Varma's played it so well. He's made this possible. Great to see this range of Tilak Varma as well. That's an important one. This kind of innings, we've seen him play a lot of blazing innings, but this kind of high pressure chase, first run a ball, then sort of see the job over the line.
And incredible control and understanding as well, right? Because the shot that he was trying to actually play, for everybody else, that is a high risk shot that to a faster bowler, yes, the fielder is inside the circle, but to actually drag it from that far outside off and then managing to actually go over or on side of the fielders. That's a tough pursuit, but he did that time and again and was in complete control. And a very good point made by Urooj as well, that initially the whole thing was built on singles, rotating strike and a boundary here and there. So allowing always being in the game and not allowing the pressure to actually boil over, and that also tells you the maturity. I mean, Tilak Varma once again is not somebody who's played 100 T20Is, but when you see this innings in isolation as a run chase in an Asia Cup final with 20 for 3
Against Pakistan.
Against Pakistan, you'll say, oh God, this guy has been here forever. He's not. He's actually not even been a regular for the last 8-10 months. I mean, that's just the story that is just developed. Last South Africa was a tour where he walked in and then he's turned it around quite well with a middling IPL in between. I mean, phenomenal.
Yeah, Dube, lots of love for Dube. Dube, the unsung hero, Shivam Dube. I think it's a really nice time to appreciate Dube here, who, in spite of being a world champion, part of the T20 World Cup, I don't know if when we were picking our pre-tournament Asia Cup squads post the IPL, where everyone had Dube gunned in. You're looking at so many other players that were impressive in the IPL, but Dube through this tournament, I mean, this is just a crowning moment for what is otherwise. Would you say he's a bit of an unsung hero, an underrated player?
Look, the fact is that Shivam Dube lives under the massive shadow of Hardik Pandya. Two all-rounders. Hardik Pandya obviously has this huge persona and has done so well for India. But Shivam Dube is also putting in the yards. He's putting in the performances. And I think as we go along, Shivam Dube is going to be appreciated, because what we are seeing now is not just a performance with the bat, he's performing with the ball as well. Because up until now, not too many people rated his bowling, but I think he's worked really hard on his bowling. I think there were a few comments coming out of the Indian camp that he is putting the hard yards with Mone Mokal and really wanting to work on his bowling. And I think all of that is coming to fore at the moment.
And let's also not forget, and when you talk about appreciating and acknowledging, Hardik Pandya bowls enough in the IPL and elsewhere to stay in that kind of shape. And man-to-man marking, Hardik Pandya is more skillful as a bowler. There's no doubt about it. And Shivam, with the advent of the impact player sub, doesn't get to bowl a single over in the IPL. So where does he actually hone his craft and upgrade his skills? I mean, the limited amount of domestic cricket that you play, or you get into the nets with Mone Mokal. I mean, easier said than done. I mean, bowling in the nets and to single wicket and then bowling against the best in the world at the biggest stage. You need to doff your hat to Shivam Dube. Well done, man.
All right, let's take some more questions. This one is more tactical from, I think it was from Akshat, who says, did Pakistan have a plan of not bowling spin to Dube, and that's why they got Rauf in the 15th over, which you can understand. A lot of T20 teams do that. Okay, Dube is in, we're going to bowl a pacer over here. Urooj?
I'm all for matchups, but I find sometimes we take it beyond what the situation is at hand, what the surface is, what the opposition is doing, what your spinners are bowling at that point. I thought it was a loss. Even Nawaz, you saw the couple of games before, just didn't bowl because there was a left-hander on strike. Now, if you've turned him as the best spinner going around, this was Mike Hesson, quote unquote, then he should have the craft and the skill to bowl to a left-hander. You change it up. So I think Pakistan missed a trick there. And matchups for me sometimes just, some of those papers should be shared and chucked away.
All right, let's take some more questions coming through. I'm going to just paraphrase quite a few that I find over here, which seems to be very strong on sentiment in this aspect, about this still not looking like the most fluent Indian T20 batting lineup. And a lot of it is down to that Gill is still upset the batting, and Gill should have been, this could have been the kind of game that a Shubman Gill should have won for you.
Well, that's correct actually. This is absolutely correct assessment that Shubman Gill is supposed to close these games. I mean, if it's a 200 plus kind of run chase, you look elsewhere. Yes, you would expect contribution from Shubman Gill, but he is not your the appointed man to score 100 of 55 balls. He might get it, but you look at other players for that 6 hitting kind of ability. But on a surface like this, chasing a score that we had in front of us today, you would expect Gill to actually seal the deal. But then again, don't judge just one game.
Yeah, I mean, Sky's batting form is also a huge point
That
here.
is a problem. I mean, there are multiple problems.
If I tie this with, it seems like Gill and Sanju Samson's fates are intertwined here. where even Samson, even though he's got a steady-ish, or like, I don't know how you describe his innings, there was a chance he got a 20 odd, which at that time was valuable, but it's still not the Samson who was opening, the Samson who was impacting games over there. So I guess this is where the fans will be asking, with what India chose to do at the Asia Cup, when Ajit Agarkar said Gill was always our first choice and we look at him as our vice captain, long-term leader, all those things. Do you see that this is actually a step in the right direction, even though India have won this final?
I think it is. If you see the Super 4 games, in 2 out of the 3 games, India have had 50 plus opening partnerships. One game they had 100 plus opening partnership, and one game they had 77. Shubman Gill up until today has an average of 67 in T20 finals. Yes, he failed today. It happens in cricket. You don't succeed every time, but he has a history of succeeding. So I definitely think Shubman Gill is somebody for the future. When it comes to Sanju Samson, in the context of today's game, that was a massive innings. Yes, it wasn't the strike rate which he generally plays with, but it was a 57 run partnership in the context of the game, in the context of the wicket. That was a very, very important partnership that gave Tilak the time and the base to explode at the end, and obviously Shivam Dube came and sealed it. But I definitely think India is moving in the right direction. Yes, there are so many calls for India having the perfect game. You don't have to have the perfect game. You just have to win cricket games.
It's not a picture that has to be perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I hope that answers your questions, folks, on Gill. Now let's take some questions on Salman Ali Agha's captaincy and how that's been. Maybe not just today, because Pakistan have really played with some heart to make it to the final. Can we all agree that the second best team in Asia? that position has changed musical chairs right through the tournament. But I guess a bigger question on Salman Agha's tactics. Mike Heston's a big influence as well, Urooj, and Salman Agha's own form doesn't help. Thoughts?
Yeah, I think, let's not forget, he's new into the role. He hardly played a couple of T20Is when he was made the T20I captain for Pakistan. Captained Islamabad United in his first season, in fact, 2025 PSL as well, where Mike Heston was coach. So I think he's also learning the art and the trait of captaincy. Sometimes it is difficult when your own form, and again, there's no shying away from it. His batting form has pivoted all the way to the rock bottom, and he hasn't been able to find a way out of that. But some tactical decisions, sometimes leadership comes naturally, and you've got that demeanor about yourself, and your gut feel clicks, and you've got the match winners to then execute the plans. And sometimes you're learning on the go. I think Salman is more learning on the go. Yes, he says the right things, and he's got a smart head on his shoulder. But if you look at today's game, and even some of the games leading up in this tournament, you'd have to say maybe his tactical nuance needs to be a little bit more sharper.
All right. Well, yep, point well made that this is still a young team. It is in transition. Whether they will look at a final appearance as a successful tournament, even though that is 3 losses to India, that's all sorts of narratives that play out when it comes to the high judgment of the fans and the public. But Pakistan have made this final here. What about his counterpart? Suryakumar Yadav has won an Asia Cup, which augurs very well for him as a first multi-nation title for Surya, the captain, going into the T20 World Cup, which will probably be the next time that the pressure will really be high. There will be some bilateral cricket. But Surya, in the past, even when he's not got runs, he's never been too bothered. Is there a reason for him to be a little bit bothered right now at the end of this tournament with the way he's batting?
Oh, well, he'll be bothered, I'm pretty sure, because the numbers are not adding up at this point in time. And as a skipper who is not just a skipper, you're also batting at 3. When you have a bat in hand, you are a batter first. And as a batter, you have a responsibility to just do what is needed on the day. And if you're not able to fulfill that responsibility, 7 out of 10 times, 6 out of 10 times, then you must ask yourself some questions. And I'm pretty sure Surya, when he looks back at this tournament, yes, a trophy, captain, winning captain and all of that is wonderful. But even though it's a team game, we are still very individual, and you want to contribute. When you don't, even if it's in a winning cause, it hurts deep inside. So Surya must be seething right now, if I know him well. And the pitches haven't really helped. But again, that he'll have to figure out something, because there is a possibility come February and March, World Cup in India and Sri Lanka, pitches might still be dusty. Certain surfaces will be slightly on the slower side, and if that's the case, Surya will have to figure out a way to score runs. And at 3 as a captain, There is no excuse.
Would you at all be concerned about Suryakumar Yadav, the batter?
I think he should be concerned because he sets very high standards for himself. He's a gun batter. But what we see is a pattern. We see a pattern where Suryakumar Yadav is getting out to the slow ball far too often. We've seen it in the IPL. We've seen it at the international circuit. And obviously, like Aakash Bhai said, the slow wickets just didn't help him at all. But at the end of the day, we spoke about Shubman having an average of 67 in finals. Suryakumar Yadav has an average of 16 in finals. So again, if he's going to lead the Indian team and if he's going to play high pressure games, he's going to have to score those runs at the right time. Again, you've got the T20 World Cup in India and Sri Lanka, where Aakash Bhai rightly says again that you're going to have wickets which are slow. So he's going to have to adapt. This is one area of his game he's going to have to figure out because people are obviously going to catch up on what he's doing and what's troubling him, and they're going to bowl a lot of pace off to him.
All right, I'm going to take one more, which I saw a little while earlier. I'm sorry if I forgot the name, but it was a really nice observation that yes, Haris had a bad day, but Pakistan gave this everything with a chase of 140 or with only having 145, 46 to defend. Urooj, I think the comment was their batters should be putting their hand up, that they completely blew it from a position where they should have easily got 160, if not more.
Yeah, I mean, you don't lose 33 runs and 9 wickets for 33 runs and get bundled out for a 19.1 overs, right? So Pakistan, obviously, their batting, I'm sure they'll put their hand up. The one attribute I really like about Salman Ali Agha is he's just honest reflection. Every time he speaks, he'll say like, right, this is what we got wrong. I think that's a massive thing for a captain. He doesn't sugarcoat it. And then the boys will know as well. And remember, there's a Babar Azam and a Mohammad Rizwan sitting outside. And two people, if not one, might lose their spot in the upcoming South Africa T20 games as well, leading into the World Cup. So the boys will have to get it right. Shot selection will have to be better. Understanding of what the game requires in situations will have to be better. And I think that skill attribute on the entirety will have to lift itself up. And Pakistan, I still feel, will have to find a good balance between how aggressive they can be and depending on the situation, and they need to dovetail that in with some smart cricket as well. So those are the changes they'll have to make. But yes, I think we're in the right track. Like you said, we're a transitioning side under a new captain and a new leadership group. And hopefully in time they'll get these tick boxes correct.
All right, so that's the verdict, I guess, from Urooj on Pakistan. Anything for you guys to add on terms of just summing up Pakistan's tournament with Mike Hesson, that you sense they're still on the right track? There's enough in this team that they can be a team that could perhaps challenge at the World Cup, or is there still a long way to go?
Well, the bowling department, you feel there is enough. In the batting department, I mean, there is promise, is what we all know, and potential. But the longest distance between in a sportsman's life is from potential to performance. So there is potential, I mean, but performances will have to speak for itself at some stage, because you're leaving out, again, no talk about Babar and Rizwan, but the fact is their shadows will be there. They'll be looming large when you see your teams are not getting 140. I mean,
they need the results. The batters need to
You need to put on the runs, man, eventually. Yes, young side, but at some stage you have to score the runs.
I think the signs are really bright for a team in transition. You have to understand Pakistan is not a set team like the Indian team. They are a team in transition. So they are ticking a few boxes. Now, it kind of makes sense to me why Babar and Rizwan played the way they did, because there is no quality after them. So when you're in a team situation and you're the top batters and you know there's no quality coming after you, you're obviously going to try and conserve your wicket. So, but now they've given a big run to a lot of these players. I feel if you throw back Babar and Rizwan into that equation and actually say that play with a higher strike rate, you could see a better team batting wise, and bowling wise they really need a third seamer. You can't have Fahim Ashraf be your third seamer. Yes, he's a good bowler, but you got Pakistan is the land of Waqar and Wasim and Imran and bowlers of that lot. You got to have a gun third seamer. You can't be playing international competitions with Fahim Ashraf as a third seamer.
I think the Naseem Shah situation will play out in time.
Hassan Ali didn't play.
Was a part of this team, but didn't play.
But I guess this is just asked now. The question forces itself. The Pakistan fans will ask: should we go back to Babar and Rizwan, or one of them at least? One of them, will they give us stability? Will they take us from a game like this from 145 to 160? Urooj, do Pakistan consider Babar and Rizwan or no?
I think one of them already booked a ticket onto the South African series. I think you need one of them. I think Babar probably makes it. I only say this because yes, Rizwan probably fits the T20 mold better, but I think Babar probably makes it more because he provides that stability role. He understands the game better. He's very good with maneuvering the strike. Can take the power play on, and then you've got players like Saizada Farhan, Saim, Haris, and Fakhar Zaman to play around him. Well, Babar will have to agree to the fact that he needs to up his T20 game. You can't be batting at sort of 100, 110 strike rate and play for 14 overs and then leave the middle order 6 overs to get you 60 runs. It does not work. And that's where the Babar Rizwan discussion for me was always a problem, that you played far too many overs and you almost left too much for the middle order to do, whether it was chasing or setting scores. And this I'm talking about scores beyond 155, 160, where on most good surfaces, T20 cricket, you will see scores north of that. So they had that fair share of troubles. But I find that Pakistan do have a good youth with prospect coming in who can mold themselves around the Babar or Rizwan phenomena, and then probably Pakistan gets a little bit more stability with the firepower that modern day T20 cricket needs. But I have a feeling one of them will be back for South Africa.
Okay, back to India for the comments. If you go through the YouTube live comments, no, you won't feel like India's won this. There is still like calls for, how are you not talking about Jaiswal? Jaiswal should have been there ahead of Gill. Looks like everyone's just after Gill over here. That's one point. The other point is there's Shreyas Iyer. There's one I saw on Bumrah has not even been at his best over here. This team, how can they not play Arshdeep Singh? India played a huge gamble by not having a second seamer on a day like this. Pakistan did them a huge favour.
Isn't that a great thing, by the way?
It's amazing, isn't it?
If you are the champion, you've lifted the trophy undefeated throughout the tournament, and still the questions are that can we not get better? And this is below par. And I think this is actually absolutely justified also, that we were below par and still you're good enough to win the Asia Cup.
I guess, Aakash, the counter to that is that, India had like the opposition today to thank for being on the right side. That's what they're saying, that this could come and bite India going forward.
Which is, that is why you just keep raising the bar. The best way to actually improve is when you're succeeding and you still keep those 1%ers and you keep improving. Because when you're losing anyway, what else can you do? You can improve. But if you want to be right at the top for a very long period of time, you keep winning and you keep improving. So questions are justified. You will keep asking questions about Gill till he actually makes it completely opening his own. And I'm with Varun. I think he will at some stage, because multi-nation tournaments you don't see 200 plus scores irrespective of the pitches that are there.
Sure.
Shreyas Iyer question is a wonderful question to have, but also some introspection that where is he going to bat? The guy who won you the Asia Cup is the guy who's supposed to replace him. Tilak Varma, right? Suryakumar Yadav is at 3. Yes, you must ask a question that Surya should score runs. We have asked that question as well. Shivam Dube was questioned whether he should be there or not.
I think Shivam Dube, he's one of the first names of the team.
So he has to be, right? Yeah. So there is incredible depth in India's talent resources. So questions are great. Keep them coming. It'll keep everyone on their toes, and that's how it should be.
Should we give some credit to certain things they did that took us by surprise? But when they win, we say it's worked. Varun and Kuldeep was a commitment right through the tournament. Batting till 8 was a commitment right through the tournament, with the exception of the Harshit Rana game where they were already through to the final. So there is, in some ways, you can see what they're doing, even though they really confused us with some of their batting orders at times, and Bumrah bowling 3 and Dube taking the new balls. How do you sense India leave this tournament?
I think India are leaving this tournament with the Asia Cup. That's
Why, thank you.
Thank you so much.
That's why India leaving this tournament. At the end of the day, like I said, you got to win games, and they won the games. If you see the batting, except Surya, everybody, even Surya got a 47 against Pakistan, but everybody has played some really good innings. So there are not that too many problem areas for India at the moment. Yes, people are sometimes set huge standards for India. They want India to absolutely steamroll every single team they play against. But this is cricket. It happens. You're not going to steamroll everybody. You're going to get wickets like these where batting is not really easy. You're not going to see 250 or 200 scores. The truth is, the wickets in Dubai were not that easy to bat on.
Yeah.
So if you keep that as the main context, India have done a brilliant job.
All right. That being considered, last question for all of you is player of the tournament. Abhishek Sharma was outstanding, making the point that it was not necessarily the easiest tournament to bat on. Kuldeep Yadav has truckload of wickets. Player of the tournament?
I'll go Abhishek Sharma.
It's been a defining tournament for him.
Absolutely.
Missed out in the final, but that's
all right. Once in a while, I mean, everybody's allowed to fail. We were all worried every game that first 3 games, 30 plus scores, and then he scores half centuries after half centuries, and you're thinking, ouch. I mean, there is one law of average that is going to catch up with him at some stage. Happened in the finals, so be it. But I think he was that torch bearer, and he, in a way, actually papered over the cracks that we spoke about. That okay, Surya's form or Hardik's unavailability at some stage or lack of runs. Sanju Samson up and down in the order. He just took care of everything else because while he was there, I mean, it never looked difficult to bat, and that I think is a huge achievement on a surface where everybody else actually struggled to put bat to ball.
Abhishek for me as well, especially because India or any team needed a good start in the power play, and Abhishek gave India that start in every important game, almost in every game, but in every important game. For me, today his first boundary to Shaheen Afridi was just a hallmark of what great form he is in. He obviously hits big sixes, but he can also control his bat swing and penetrate those gaps equally well. And I feel Abhishek Sharma is just a beautiful batsman.
Urooj?
Yeah, I'll have to agree with the panel. 3-0 to Abhishek. I think phenomenal. Doesn't shy away from shots. His quality of shot selection. When he hits the ball, he can hit it a long, long way. And just to go at that repeat, 7 or 8 plus scores of 30 plus 2 half centuries in that as well. And to strike at 200 north of that throughout the tournament, throughout his T20 career, in fact. Again, we're seeing his numbers of the first ball of every over. That takes a big heart, and I think just a phenomenal tournament for him. And he's what a prospect for India. I really feel he's got a long, long way to go.
I believe that we don't have confirmation of the player of the tournament because I don't believe the presentation has actually taken place yet.
Is it happening?
I don't know. As of now, it seems like it's a long gap, and it would not surprise me that in spite of a thrilling final, that we are still left with perhaps headlines from tomorrow that are not just about the cricket. It's just been...
Well, that's how this game started,
that sort of tournament.
And that's how this game started as well, at the toss.
Yeah, we had Ravi and Waqar double dipping on the toss. So I think the last person that both India and Pakistan captain spoke to happily was Urooj Mumtaz before she left on the 21st. Well done. I'm not necessarily going to take this into that direction because I just think it's those sorts of times. But I just love for the attention to be on the cricket, and if they're playing, they should just play like they normally play. That's how it should be. I'm just going to leave it there. Is there anything that you'd like to add on your on this tournament in general? Have we witnessed the best Asia Cup final?
Yeah. I mean, last year was also just year before last, Pakistan, Sri Lanka. I thought that was a
damn good final.
That was a very good
but
final.
I guess with all the India element involved, the theatre drama involved, normally the expectation build-up is not... It doesn't match up to the contest. We had a great contest today.
It's been absolutely. This was
proper
like
Absolutely.
India, Pakistan. Fit the bills.
This was the final we all wanted. And this was the India-Pakistan match we all wanted.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, just from a fan perspective, you want to see the India-Pakistan clash be very, very heated and also very close. You just don't want it to be heated and then it to be an absolute one-sided... just like a drab contest. This was a proper India-Pakistan contest.
Urooj?
Yeah, 100%. I think it lives up to the hallmark of what an India-Pakistan game should look like. From a contest, you're always going to get a heated go at each other from a team's point of view. But to have a contest from cricket point of view, go down to the final over where both sides were in it and it ebbed and flowed. And that was the beauty of the game. So, obviously, Pakistan will think back on the opportunities they had, but from a final India-Pakistan clash, it lived up to their expectations.
Well, they'll meet again at the ICC Men's T20 World Cup.
Yeah, at Colombo.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe everything will just sort itself out by then. Pakistan will play, I don't know, Delhi or Calcutta or Ahmedabad. That ain't happening. But I just hope the next time they play, perhaps we can keep the focus purely on the cricket and it gives us a game like this. And I must point out, they will meet, of course, before that in Colombo in the ICC Women's Cricket World Cup.
5th of October. Yes.
On the 5th of October. Anyway, on that note, Urooj, Mumtaz, what a pleasure having you back with us. We did miss you through the tournament, but I can understand that you were needed where the emotions were high just to talk some sense into the boys. So thank you very much, Dr. Urooj Mumtaz.
Lovely being back as always.
Pleasure. Former Pakistan captain Urooj Mumtaz. Varun, always a pleasure having you, my friend.
Likewise.
Yeah, and Aakash Chopra, sir. Absolute pleasure having you with us. We look forward to your company again soon on ESPN Cricket. For us, we look forward to yours as well. I'm sure there'll be plenty of content, and whether this presentation happens by the time you wake up tomorrow morning, we'll have you covered with everything to do with the Asia Cup on ESPN Cricket. For we will perhaps be live with Timeout or Match Day soon again with all the cricket that is lined up. But until then, thank you so much for being part of the conversation. This is us signing off on CMF by Nothing presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout, powered by Thumbs Up.
Best budget thrown out this year.
CMF Phone 2 Pro. Search now on Flipkart.
हीरो एक्सट्रीम 250 यार चलानी है तो थम्स अप स्कैन करो. जो भी थंडर व्हील्स चलाएगा सुपर तूफानी